Kim, ready? Call to order for committee of the whole meeting Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Roll call, please, Kim.
Babcock,
Yes. Here.
Simon, not here. Mead,
Here.
Rhoda,
Here.
Wright,
Here.
Block, not here.
Okay, approval of the minutes. Number one, approval of the minutes for the meeting of the committee of the whole from August 19th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
First by John Broda, second Dave Mead.
Wright,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Two public comments, open to the floor. Another chance to continue the meeting, thank you. I'm gonna tackle a couple in old business, subdivision signs. Right?
Yeah, subdivision signs. This morning I received the subdivision sign designs, which I will send down to everybody. I'll send them out to you guys tomorrow. They're for the Chippy Ridge. You'll see there's different options that he did. This is the same subdivision sign company that actually made the current now. So they made Prairie Ridge, they made which one we have out? The ones we've been looking at, the ones we have in that area. Crystal Hills, and they actually also made the Fox Point section as well. So you'll see those. Chippy Ridge will be easy. You guys have to just decide. We'll put in the agenda, decide which one you like. You can go for it with that. Hawks Point's gonna be a little more difficult. Right now, we're looking at that a little bit, trying to figure out exactly where those signs are gonna go. It's a hard place to put those signs. The current sign that's out there, we'll probably look at the agreement with the owner, but they'll probably rotate that so it faces the road a little more clearly visible as part of the entranceway. However, the other two locations, the new location as well as the southern location on the current entrance and Ticket Trail. That's gonna be a little more difficult for us to get a sign in there, especially a bigger sign or even that trellis sort of style that we've been looking at. So we may end up wanting to go with the same style sign we have currently at Hawks Point, but you can talk about that. We'll bring those to you at next board meeting. You can talk about that and see if you want us to try to wedge something in there or shrink it or move it. But your ridge should be very straightforward. So we've got about, I don't know, 8 options or so in there that he put together. Let us know what you think. You can adjust them if you need to. Then we get those, once we decide on those, we can get those cut and built pretty quickly. That'll be the next committee.
Number two, another trustee request information on Port.
So that RFP for the design went out last week's ago. Something like that. The questions are due. We had a bunch of consultants asking clarification questions, and it's on the website as well, on our village website and bids. But we've had some questions. Questions are due for clarifications tomorrow. I'll send those responses out to that on Friday, and then the bids are actually due on 10, which is next.
September 10th.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
Thank you.
So we'll have those proposals back. We'll put those together, bring those to you to look at. I let you. Work with the design work on that. That's this current schedule.
New business, if anyone wants to hear update on hometown holidays, we're going into our second meeting. Real quickly, everything has been secured except we haven't decided on transportation up and down Main Street, whether we go with a train or a horse. Cost.
And the budget and special event will be on the next.
Possibly.
meeting.
Yeah, and I will give you some heads up that the cost, like everything we mentioned here tonight, has gone up a little bit, not significantly. And I think the highest is a couple $100 right now. That's changed, but everything seems to be in line with last year.
So it's either a motorized tram or a horse.
I'm looking at a motorized
cleanup.
We're looking for a motorized, we've looked at a couple different train. Train driver that we can decorate or the same. Horse and.
As last year.
Horse and trailer. So.
you don't have that, next board
We'll have an update on that.
for the special event permit.
Okay, number 2, discussion and recommendation of a map amendment. CR Retail and Service Commercial District to R1 Single Family Residential District for properties commonly known as 12052. Thank you all. And 12126 Johnson Drive, and the applicant Amy Sylvester is here this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, Amy Sylvester. I'm an attorney. Here for the McCurdy family. And items 2 and 3 go together. Are you all familiar where this property is located?
Like church there.
Right, and that land that was all developed, Kinnickinnick Creek side, if any of you know the McCurdy family, that was their old farmstead. So they had eventually developed it many years ago, had envisioned a couple commercial entities perhaps at the entrance, followed by single family homes. It's been sitting there for quite some time. The demand for single family homes is higher than the commercial entities. There is, of course, Ellis Orthodontics there. So the McCurdy family, I have filed on their behalf a request there's 3 commercial lots. The village ordinance allows those 3 lots to be divided into 6 lots as it relates to R1 zoning. So there's 2 parts of the request. One is to change the zoning to R1. The second is to divide the 3 lots into a total of 6 lots, all still in compliance with the village ordinance. When the plans were submitted, the village engineers had a few comments to them, all of which were perfectly reasonable. One was to allow for the sign easement at the beginning of the entrance, and that was drawn in. Another was to have and there's no objection to, of course, the first lot, the construction of the driveway would be as far back from elevated road as could be permitted. Can't remember the other ones, but they're all incorporated into a new drawing. The final plat drawing was then submitted to the village last week and should have been part of your packets. And I'm here for any questions that you may have concerning the requests.
Straightforward. Is the reason they want is there some potential that in the near future that somebody's gonna wanna put a home on those lots?
So they've been building in that, and yeah, I mean, they don't have them sold, they don't have an owner, but yeah, I mean, that's the
That's the idea, right?
yeah, of course.
That's pretty well built out, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's a few infills, I think that happened.
Even bills, but
lots still that have been.
yeah, over the last couple of years, I think it's been every bit of 8 lots that have been built out in that subdivision, primarily along the very northern side of the subdivision. But yeah, there's a lot of interest right now.
the building slowed down a lot. There was, of course, the building slump, but the last year or 2, building, I think in general, and I've seen increase, so. But single family homes, I think the demand in this area is more that than the. commercial.
I know as of this morning, there's 22 single family homes for sale in Roscoe, so we need houses.
Well, as an attorney who does a lot of real estate, if your house is on the market for more than a week, there's something wrong with it. So, any other questions?
I'd make a motion to approve number 2 and number 3 since they go together.
We do both together.
You think so? Probably fine.
It's curious, I think you just to approve and moving forward to the village board.
And here's the lots that we're talking about too, just with diagram.
Yeah, I looked at when I saw the ZBA packet.
Yeah.
I think that's the first drawing we submitted before the
Yeah, this might be the older version of it, but this is the lots that we.
Because there was like right here, the easement, there was
Yeah.
some other thing. Oh, and there was some comments they wanted.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of comments on the final one.
So motion for 2 and 3?
Motion for 2 and 3, yes.
I'll second that.
I second it.
We did, thank
Willie
you.
seconded.
Great, awesome.
Right,
Yes,
me,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for your time, Ty.
Number 4. Discussion and recommendation of establishing the authorized number of full-time employees and corresponding tiers for the Public Works Department. Floor is yours, sir, if you'd like.
First of all, I wanted the packet that was in, I'd say, where it says 6 full-time within tier 2, it's actually 5. There is one person that's in tier 1. We'll have that adjusted for the next round. This is something that staff wanted us to put together to make it follow like the PD's footsteps of how many employees that we have, so when the person leaves that we can replace that person.
That's what we do for the it's from my request for it, it's because we do for the police department, so the police department has an authorized number of officers. They come and go as people come in and out of it. It allows them to, go through the hiring process and keep those positions filled. Same with this would authorize X number of employees, and we have a 3-tier system for our public works department for pay scales. So this would authorize X number of employees there. The board would sort of formally authorize that. I think the recommendation right now is just currently what we have, people's current locations. As we grow, or the need for the works department grows, that way Troy can come in and say, can you authorize another employee for me? It sort of formalizes it, allows us to have that sort of set number, so we know, okay, yep, these are the number of positions we need to fill. We've gone sometimes for a while with vacant positions, and sort of lose track of those, what's out there. So this just allows us to have a formal authorization of this number of employees in this tier. And as things change or move, Troy will be able to adjust those or ask you to adjust those numbers. It just allows us to sort of have a little bit more organization for it, I suppose.
One question for Troy. So you have this number set right now. This is your current employees. We're just formalizing it, or?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve.
Second,
Babcock,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
right,
yes.
me,
Yes.
thank you.
Number 5, discussion and recommendation of approving a right-of-way usage agreement with Comcast of Illinois /Indiana/Ohio LLC.
I will, I'm gonna hit really quick and get into it.
I had questions.
Yeah, well, so we have a right of way ordinance, and if you're familiar with that, you can look at it. We put that in place a bunch of years ago at this point. It's a pretty in-depth right of way ordinance that says who can use our right of ways in the village. We're sort of restricted on many things about who we can say you can't use or can use right of ways. Previously, we had a lot more authority, we being municipalities in Illinois, had more authority to sort of regulate who's in our right of ways, charge franchise fees for that, charge those extra fees for that. That's been sort of restricted a lot in the last bunch of years now, 5 or 6 years. Comcast of Illinois came in, it's Comcast Business. They would like to start using our right of way, the same as, Charter uses it, Verizon, phone companies, whatever else, all the fiber companies really, to run their fiber lines. So not cable lines, not cable coax, but to run fiber in our right of way. I know, I say that too, because we don't get to charge for the coax, for the data use only. Cable, if we were doing cable, we could do a franchise agreement that would charge a little more, but this is essentially the same thing we're doing with all of the fiber companies coming through. However, Comcast's business unit, their higher ups will not put these projects in place without a formal agreement with the municipality. That's just sort of their procedure. We told them, we don't need an agreement. We're not charging you anything for this other than our permit fees and making you follow our ordinances. But they've asked to have an agreement put in place. So that's what the agreement is in front of you. And essentially it says you will follow all of our code of ordinances for our right of way based on our current right of way ordinances. I don't know if this may be your question or a question, but in there also it talks about if for relocations. So relocations, we have our code says if we need you to relocate your fiber for a project, you have to relocate it for us. What they've got in there is that, yes, they have to relocate it at their expense unless we're paying other similarly situated utilities money to relocate those fiber projects or their utility projects. So if we pay other companies and we pay the cost for other companies to do it, we have to equally pay Comcast to do it. Otherwise, nope, they have to follow the same rules as everybody else.
So if it's a gas line running and they're running parallel in that same area, we need to move it. We're moving the gas line. They say we're not.
They say if we're gonna pay the gas company to move the gas line, we also need to pay the same percentage of their move as well. So they're asking to be put in a similar or the same situation as any other utility there. So that's what this agreement is. I think the extra things that's about it.
Yeah,
It matches up with the code.
Just a couple things. So the timeline for relocation, that's one that is explicitly stated in our ordinance. They have a certain number of days. There's a few different options. If it's just because we need them to move it for a project, they have like 90 days. If we find out that their infrastructure is installed in an incorrect location or not according to the plan, that timeline shrinks, actually. They're not asking for any waivers of anything in the ordinance. Like Joe said, we don't really understand why they
Yeah.
need this, but it's just their business higher ups that are making the decision. So we reviewed it. I know Tom Green reviewed this agreement. He had a couple questions for me, mainly about the relocation, but other than that, it seems to follow our ordinance procedures.
They probably got sued by a municipality somewhere.
Well, I think a lot of places don't have, we do a very in-depth ordinance, and I think that's the difference. I think a lot of places don't necessarily have that same ordinance we have. Like ours covers a lot of usage, and here's how you use it, here's the depth, here's the location, here's the permits and timelines, and removals and insurance, and all of that is covered in our ordinance. I think that's not necessarily common in every community. So I think this is in place for them, so they know what they're getting into when they're installing those projects.
No mention of end game though, maybe.
Maybe that.
So they say something about that they were only gonna do commercial, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, as of right now, they're only going to service a couple of commercial areas. They did say that that's just the plan right now. That's not to say that they won't expand into residential service, but as of right now, it's strictly the business service. The two locations that they're primarily focusing on, up to 51 over to the elevator road area, Beefaroo, that area, and then the Rockton and Willowbrook area as well. So those are the two locations that they're looking at. They've still got to work on, once this agreement is approved, they still got to work through all their plans, their business model, and then they'll submit plans to us for review.
Anyway, any questions or any?
No, as long as nobody sees the detriment, I make a motion to move it on.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, vote please.
Proto,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Need,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Second public comment, anything? Terry, go ahead, state your name just for the record, please.
Terry Brock, Kelmore Drive. I got something in the mail a couple of weeks ago that Medtronic was gonna be digging in our area shortly. How is there any room in the right of ways for
Good
these
question.
guys to dig anymore?
It's getting congested. And yeah, unfortunately, we do not have the power to tell these entities no, is what we're finding out. So if there is congestion, and they cannot reasonably, fit into the areas that they're allotted to in our ordinance, they can request variances that can be approved administratively by myself, but there has to be a justified reason. I will tell you, I do not like to approve variances administratively, so I have not had that happen in a few years. There's also rear yard utility easements that we always ask these companies to utilize those rear yard easements. Just for the simple fact of we don't want our right of way congested. Those are more for the bigger utilities, the gas, power, water and sewer.
Even when that I3 broadband came through, I bet there's only not even a half a dozen people in our subdivision that hooked up.
Somewhere in their business modeling and marketing, they crunch numbers and determine that it's worth it for them to build. That's how most of these newer companies that are coming to us. They build and then they ask people to connect to recoup their money. So historically, it's been, they need to have those, interest or inquiries, and then they will come out and build once it makes sense to them. That is not how these new companies like Metronet and I5 or i3 broadband work.
Yeah.
They put the infrastructure in the ground and then hope that residents get, unhappy about their current service and they start looking for other options.
There's a lot of federal things too.
Medtronic is going through the subdivisions then, just like I3 broadband?
Yep, correct.
For the most part, they're not overlapping I3.
No,
For the most part.
no, there's a
There's
couple
some places they are.
subdivisions where the two companies will overlap, but Metronet is a much bigger company than i3. We have to review and approve, I review and approve permits in the order that I get them, so I don't get to determine who goes where. Metronet recently, as of the last couple of weeks, has pulled or withdrawn a couple of their subdivisions because they did find out that i3 broadband was already building there.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever their marketing team decides is worth it for them, they move forward with.
And there's a lot of grant money that was last couple of years, 2 or 3 years. I think that's going away now, but there was a lot of funding, federal funding for high-speed broadband. So that's been a big push with, I think, state and actually federal. So I think they're probably getting a lot of money from that. So I think that's why you see so much happening, and it's easy right here because you can just, you're hooking, we've got a lot of fiber backbone here that you can hook into. So I think that's why you see.
And
Those guys work like a horse though, let me tell you.
the competition's good for the consumer too.
Just staying on technical, one real last quick question, microphones, I know you were gone, did we try those? Or-
Yeah, we've got them. They're gonna take some time to get hooked into it. And get pulled out from Public Works. They're down there. So we'll work on those though. Those will be back at some point. Shortly here.
Brandon, can I ask you a question about, did we ever hear back about the railroad track? There's a lot of activity out there. USC, who is that?
USIC is just a utility locating company
And the railroad tracks going on.
on Roscoe Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Carlos Molina about that, and asked him to, make a request.
The fact that you put up a sign that says rough railroad, it's like,
I know,
let's fix it.
it's,
Still 20,
unfortunately, that
25,
is what,
maybe.
what
27?
2027 maybe.
it's tough to get the railroads to do anything. You can request it. You can't just go onto their property and just, repair things. You have to have railroad liability insurance, I believe, if you're within 30 feet or 50 feet of the center track of the rail. I mean, the regulations and the approval process just take years. And I'm not joking when I say years, even for a simple project like that. So
In Love's Park, they had an issue on Windsor Road there, and I thought Love's Park put a sign up because people were complaining. And so they put a sign up that said, this is the railroad's property, and then people started calling the railroad.
that's some,
So I'm just, I don't know if that's
Yeah.
an option.
Let's approve it.
that's your guys' direction.
Phone number on it.
What you want.
Trying to track down.
But yeah, obviously, I know that it's in our jurisdiction, but the roadway jurisdiction specifically is the county. So, I'm at a little bit of an impasse, right? I don't want to overstep the county and negotiate with the railroad or reach out to the railroad on behalf of the county, because I don't work for them, obviously. So I'm allowing Carlos and the Winnebago County Highway Department to handle that.
And they're well aware of it. I mean, they're not.
They're
it's
well
not
aware. They
like
get a
they're
lot-
scope, and they're actively.
When I
I'm
talked with
trying to get
Carlos,
it
he
done.
said that they get numerous complaints. I believe we've had one of the Winnebago County Board
Should we
chair.
put up a sign, get the number, it says call the railroad, this is their problem? Who owns a sign that says rough railroad?
County put that up.
Yeah, probably.
County.
It would be, so that's another step. It would be
Putting up-
us putting up the sign, getting approval from Winnebago County. And then dealing with, the railroad maybe not being happy, but. I'm not gonna say whether or not that's a good idea. We can,
Sam speed sign.
it's just, we would have to get approval from Winnebago County to do that. So,
It worked in Love's Park.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Good comment.
Okay, any need for an executive session? I don't think so. Very good. Adjournment, motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Second was, second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you.
Even though I'd like to stay here in the hour, so. I'm exhausted. I have an event.
The realtors, every night this week and every night.